long with the Masters. And don't forget, get in on those baseball futures, NBA MVP, and more at PropSwap.com and the PropSwap app.
The radio home of Joel Embiid, James Harden, and the 76ers.
Dominate at one of the biggest dunks of his career.
We are 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Friday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Phillies hanging on to a lead. Still 7-5 heading into the bottom of the eighth. We'll keep you updated on the Phillies opener throughout the show. Also, we're going to preview UFC 273 a little bit later this hour. Longtime MMA UFC reporter John Morgan, he's down live in Jacksonville for UFC 273. He'll join us coming up at 6:20 p.m. You've heard John on the show before multiple times. Always has some interesting anecdotes about the fights. Of course, you've heard my bet of the weekend presented by FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's Atlantic City is a UFC bet. We'll get into all of my thoughts on the weekend with the UFC a little bit later in the hour. Of course, you can join the conversation as well at 609-403-0973 is the text board. 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. I am starting, though, not with the Phillies, who Sir Anthony Dominguez looked pretty good right there. Good job by him coming in and shutting things down. Cut off the bleeding after you had this guy in Aaron Nola just completely run out of gas and implode at the end there. As they have a montage of Bryson Stott throws from third base there on the television. That was interesting. I got to start with the Phillies, though, because it's the Sixers. I thought last night was pathetic. You go out there, no Fred VanVleet, no OG Anunoby. You have every reason why you should win, because you knew the Celtics were probably going to lose last night. Although you got to give Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown a lot of credit. They played their butts off last night, and the Bucks had to fight to win that game. But you had a theory that this guy was going to go in there and lose the game because there was no Tatum, there was no Horford. So you had an opportunity to move up the standings, and you go to Toronto, and you just choked. And I know people are pointing to James Harden shooting 3 for 12, but Harden did have 15 assists. So it's not like Harden had a horrible game. He didn't shoot great, but he went out there and got the assists. That's part of his job. He's one of the top assist men in the NBA in the last few years. So at least he did part of his job. But down the stretch, it just felt like the Sixers team just lacked an edge. They lacked desire. They lacked the want to get the job done. And I kept thinking, at some point, someone's got to step up and pick it up. And at times, it seemed like they were just running through mud. They just had no burst at times. And the Raptors looked like they wanted the game more. It was almost like the Raptors came out and said, okay, we gave Danny Green his ring. Now we want to beat these guys. And this is not a coaching issue specifically to me. This is a player issue. If you want to blame Doc Rivers for the 100th time, you can do that. I can't. At some point, we got to hold these players responsible. So much about sports is about want. How bad do you want it? I don't think the Sixers wanted it bad enough last night. You had an opportunity. You should have won the game. and you just planted your face in the dirt. And you can come up with all the excuses you want about how Harden shooting, well, maybe Harden shouldn't be jacking so many threes, right? Or how, well, their defense didn't play well. Well, where's the effort on the defensive end? I understand that Harden and Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey are not elite defensive players, and Danny Green doesn't have the foot speed anymore to get the job done. But at some point, you just got to want it a little more. And I thought that there were only a couple of guys on that team last night who legitimately had a full slate of want to last night. I'm never worried about Joel Embiid's effort in one, ever. I feel like Joel at this point, you can count on him to give you what you need each and every night. And then you have Maxey. I feel like for the most part, Maxey gives you an honest night's effort each day. But I got to tell you guys, I don't think Harden is giving you his best. I don't know if it's because he's still banged up. I know that he got that bruised quad on the same leg as his hamstring. Maybe he's overcompensating. Maybe he's overthinking at times. Tobias, I'm sorry, but Tobias, he's got to try a little harder at times. Sometimes it looks like when on defense, he just kind of gives up and says, I'll get him next time. I understand that Joel wants to be Defensive Player of the Year one day, but him playing Siakam at times just looks awkward. Because Siakam's got a faster foot speed than he does. Joel Embiid's a phenomenal athlete for a man who's 7'2". He doesn't have the athleticism and the foot speed of a man who is 6'10", 6'11", like Siakam. I really think, and by the way, Bryson Stott had another hit. I've seen more of Bryson Stott's mother and girlfriend than half this game today. This TV broadcast is obsessed with the family here. There they are again. Mom, girlfriend. I've seen you two about 50 times today. People have seen more of Bryson Stott's mother and girlfriend than they've seen their own family members in this game. It's crazy. But anyway, back to the Sixers. So you have a situation where these guys are giving a good effort. So you put Paul Reed into the game, which at least with a change of pace. But Paul Reed can only do so much. He's not a defensive rim blocker. He's an energy guy. He's a rebounding guy. He's not a guy who's going to go out there and get you block shots and play great defense. He's going to give you effort, but he's not going to give you great defense. So this entire roster, I'm convinced, is just not a championship roster. They're not built to win a championship as currently constructed. They are still a couple things away. You traded one of those things away when you gave up both Drummond and Seth Curry. At some point, the Sixers never truly addressed that issue. And if Doc Rivers and Daryl Morey are going to tell me that Willie Cauley-Stein, Paul Millsap, and DeAndre Jordan were addressing the loss of Drummond, I think that you are crazy or you're on some mind-altering substances, because anybody with two eyes can tell you that, no, they're not filling the void well. Then you gave up Seth Curry. You never replaced him. And apparently the Sixers' explanation for that is Doc Rivers saying that Tyrese Maxey can be a spot-up three-point shooter. You are leaning so hard on this kid Maxey to fill the void of the other lacks on the roster. It's unfair. The bench is inconsistent from night to night. You can't expect to have a historic three-point shooting night every night to bail you out of poor defense in the second half. I mean, Siakam went off in that third quarter. He just went out the way at 15 points in the third quarter, whatever it was. It was absolutely just a monster effort. I'm not trying to be the old man, get off my lawn, but at some point, I need Charles Barkley to go out there and put an elbow in the guy's chest. Like, just give me a little bit of pushback on this guy. There were times that Siakam was getting to the basket unfettered. The problem is that This Sixers organization gave in to the pandering and the emotional response of the fan base. The fan base complained forever that the team needed another superstar. They don't have enough scoring. So what do? They got one of the greatest scorers of all time. Great. Now you don't have the defense. Now you don't have the rim protection. Now you don't have enough guys to space the floor consistently. And a team like the Raptors, without Fred VanVleet and without OG Anunoby, went out there and took it to you, and you didn't have the fight to put back. And now you have to win these 2 games this weekend, starting with 1 o'clock tomorrow. Tom making us on the call right here on 97.3 ESPN FM. You have to win these games this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, if you have any hope of moving out of the 4 spot. You could have done it last night. You didn't. And now you're hoping that the Grizzlies play at least some of their guys to beat the Celtics on Sunday. Sixers players have to grow up and get over themselves. You have 3 guys on the court who are consistently giving an effort, and the rest of the team thinks it's street ball. No bueno. Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Phillies lead 8-5. 2 outs, man on third base, Kyle Schwarber at bat. I think we learned one thing today for sure, and that is if you expected the Phillies to be scoring runs, well, they're scoring runs. Schwarber led the game off with a home run, which was good to see. I like the fact that this team started out throwing a punch back at the A's. Now, they left Nola in way too long, and this is one of those situations where I don't know who's ultimately the guy who says leave Nola in there, but the blame's going to fall on Girardi. If the Phillies go on to win this game, keeping Nola in is going to be a footnote on his stat line as another run scored for the Phillies. Bryson Stott comes in, Schwarber with another RBI 9-5 ball game. As the ballpark, Mike Gill said earlier today he thinks it's going to be a sellout today. I think Mike Gill might be right. I don't know what the announced attendance is, but this looks like a sellout to me. But leaving Nola in there, I think is going to be a conversation we're going to have the rest of the year. Because I think everyone and their cousin saw watching the game. If you're at the ballpark, you listen to the sound of my voice on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. We all knew that Nola was running out of steam. We saw it, but there's probably some analytics dude who said, he's only at 74 pitches. Who cares? And then you get blasted. The Phillies could have been winning this game easily. This could have been like a 9-3, 9-2 ball game. Instead, Nola stays in there too long, gives up a big bomb, and the A's are right back in it, and the Phillies have to go up against the A's bullpen to get more runs. Nola was really good for about 5 innings. I think that's who he is at this point. I think Nola is a guy who, once he gets to the 6th and 7th inning, just runs out of gas. I don't know if he's overthinking. I don't know if he just doesn't have the moxie to finish out games consistently, but this is going to be something to conversate about the rest of the year. Because when we get to 5th and 6th inning now, I think we got to look at Nola more under the microscope. And if Girardi's going to go up to the podium after this game and use the excuse of pitch count, then I think everyone needs to call him out on BS. Because either Girardi needs to tell his analytics guy to shove it, or Girardi needs to be a better evaluator. All right, we'll get to your guys' thoughts and comments a little bit later in the hour. 609-403-0973 is the text board. You can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Coming up on the other side, we're talking UFC 273. 2 title fights on the card tomorrow night. A unification bout at 135. and then a big title fight at 145, and one of the fastest risers in MMA, Hazmat Kamayev, is going to fight against former number one contender Gilbert Burns. So a lot to get to there as well with John Morgan, UFC and MMA reporter, next. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night, and you're listening to 97.3 ESPN FM.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Joel beyond the arc, fakes, drive, sidestep, jab. Oh, baby, a throwdown. Rock and roll, baby.
The Sixers host the Indiana Pacers. Coverage begins at 1 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
This week's featured bet is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's Atlantic City. UFC 273 Saturday night. Take Gilbert Burns money line at plus 360. Bet all the action in style at FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's Atlantic City. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
If you're ready to get back to work or just thinking about changing careers, 97.3 ESPN's virtual job fair is the place to start. Just go to the 97.3 ESPN app and tap on the virtual job fair to find exciting opportunities from
Maurice Piers in Wildwood,
Evolution Gaming in Atlantic City.
Peruse all our exhibitors and learn about opportunities just like you would at a live job fair. Take the first step to a brighter future. Visit 97.3 ESPN's virtual job fair at 973ESPN.com and the 97.3 ESPN app.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with a set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan-A-Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the MPD Group 2021. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool.
In business, you need connections. Now you can connect with unprecedented access to the nation's largest delivery network. Introducing USPS Connect. You want reach? We go there. You want easy? We make returns simple. You want fast? We deliver same day. Move your business forward with the United States Postal Service. Let's connect at USPSConnect.com. Specific markets, restrictions apply. Same day expected with entry close to final destination.
Are you still looking for new auto insurance?
Yeah, I might go with the one whose commercial has that football player juggling guitars. Then a cat appears and hums a jingle.
What about the one with the rhino on a roller coaster?
The cat is cuter.
Some insurance companies are known for their mascots.
Do you know anything about their insurance?
Not really. Does it matter?
NGM is known for what matters. Outstanding service you can count on. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Visit NJM.com to see if you could save up to 20% on your auto insurance.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Spilled your milkshake? Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading Ordinary brand. So you can get back to your milkshake.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than your
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
So in life, throws you uh-ohs. Just save, better get Mako.
Go to Mako.com for an online estimate today.
DQ presents How to Know If Spring Has Sprung. Step 1, stop by DQ and order from the new Spring Treat collection. Step 2, grab a fruity blast dip cone, poolside punch, twisty misty, s'more shake, or any of the colorful treats at DQ. Step 3, declare spring has indeed sprung and repeat steps 1 and 2 all season long. You know how to do it. So get your spring started today with the new Spring Treat collection only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Why is it that every March, everyone's either a basketball bracketologist expert or 100% Irish? Not that there's anything wrong with the two. All you need to know this March is at Matt Blatt Kia in Egg Harbor Township or Toms River. If you have a job clearing $350 per week, you could be approved. And don't forget, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
Gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 in Toms River.
A new fusion of flavor, friendly competition, and fiery foods. That's the Chili Knockout and Spicy Food Fest, Saturday, May 21st. Orange Loop Arena, New York Avenue in Atlantic City. It's an opportunity for culinary discovery. Chili Knockout is a food festival devoted to exploring all things flavorful and spicy. It's an interactive, you be the judge chili cook-off and a day out with friends and family, supporting this seaside community culinary scene. It's a kickoff to spring like no other. Tickets are available now at chilliknockout.com. Produced by Good Time Tricycle.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig back here on Game Night. We'll get back to you guys' thoughts and comments. Text board is open, 609-403-0973. You also can DM the shows with 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. And still to come, about 35 minutes from now, your last chance today to qualify for the Pick Your Trip contest at the Eagles Draft Party Thursday, April 28th at Slack Tie Brewing on Route 83 with the Sports Bash and Mike Gill, courtesy of Phillies Sports Trips and Ernest & Sons Old Fashioned Butcher Shop in Brigantine. UFC 273 is tomorrow night, and they get more into it with 2 title fights on the card and more. And FOJ, friend of Josh, John Morgan, joins the show. Of course, he's covered UFC and MMA for a long time, and now he's the editor-in-chief of The Underground. He joins us right now on 97.3 ESPN. John, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm enjoying the weather down here in Florida and getting ready for a big card, man. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and I got to start with big picture because this is a card that I think has gotten a little lost in the sauce until this week because, with all the news in the world about almost every other division, you got 135, 145, 2 monster fights, and it almost feels like people are like, oh, snap, there's a fight card tomorrow night kind of attitude.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's flown a little bit under the radar. And I think what's led to that as well is, you look at some of the betting lines on these fights. I mean, they're pretty wide. And so I think a lot of people have been looking at the fights and saying, I don't know, are these really that competitive? But I think when you really take a closer look at the matchups themselves and kind of what's on the line, it really is big. I mean, first of all, look, anytime you got 2 title fights on the line, I mean, that's big. I mean, that's part of UFC history. And then, of course, you got this, potential fast-rising superstar, Khamzat Chimaev. It looks like he may very well be the next big deal in the promotion. I mean, there's a lot going on here. So I think the energy's picking up a little bit, but it hasn't slowed till now. But I think it's starting to settle in a little bit.
Well, let's start with the very top of the card because, to me, Volkanovski is on that path to trying to cement himself as one of the best 145ers. But he's fighting a dude who doesn't stop coming forward. Korean Zombie is a unique fighter, and I don't know if Volkanovski's fought someone like this guy before.
No, it's a great fight. I mean, look, Alexander Volkanovski, like you said, he's making a case for being the best featherweight in UFC history. I mean, only 4 guys have ever held a title in the UFC's featherweight division. He's one of them, and he's beat 2 of the other guys in Jose Aldo and Max Holloway. The other one being Conor McGregor, who isn't competing at 145 pounds anytime soon, that's for sure. So, I mean, look, he's making a case. He's on a 20-fight win streak. I mean, that's just unbelievable. I don't care who you're fighting. You win 20 in a row, man. That's pretty dang impressive. But as you said, Korean Zombie, a veteran of the game, somebody that, his nickname says it all. The Korean Zombie. I mean, exactly what you imagine, right? Like, if you've never seen him fight, just know what the nickname is, and you'll understand. The guy will not stop coming forward. He'll take shots, and he'll keep moving forward to work at you. So, maybe not necessarily the true number one contender in the division. Let's not forget this was supposed to be a trilogy fight with Max Holloway, but injury allowed Chan Sung Jung to step in here. And so I think maybe that's the reason there was a little, lack of excitement, perhaps. But, as Alexander Volkanovski says, look, this is a legacy fight, man. This is a guy that's a legend of the sport. He presents all kinds of problems. My belt is on the line in this fight, and I have to perform or he's going to make me pay for it.
Do you think that Chan Sung Jung, Korean Zombie, presents a more dangerous situation for Volkanovski than Holloway, or do you think in some ways it being a different fight might be a little bit of a relief maybe for Volkanovski to get some new meat to bite into per se?
Well, see, I think that's where the danger would fall, right? I mean, if you look at it like, okay, well, I've got something a little different here. I got something maybe a little easier, maybe not such a tough test as Holloway, but I don't think Volkanovski's taking that way. He says, look, Zombie's been in this game way longer than I have. I've always had my eye on him. I've always wanted this fight. Like I said, it's the legacy fight. It's one that I always imagine myself having. And he has a lot of respect for him, and he's fired up. And I think Volkanovski is embracing the fact, like, look, I want to be the greatest ever. And I'm not afraid to say that. And I want to make this happen. And he knows that means you can't have slip-ups. You can't have setbacks. You have to be careful. So, if it was a situation where it seemed like maybe he thought, okay, I can let my foot off the gas a little bit because this isn't former champion Max Holloway. This isn't number one contender Max Holloway. I mean, this is a lower level. And I don't think Volkanovski is looking at it that way. So for that reason, I think you're absolutely right. It could be kind of one of those trap fight type situations. But it seems to me like Volkanovski is taking all the steps to make sure that's not the case.
At the sports books here in Jersey, the favorite is the fight to end by decision. The least likely scenario, they say, is submission, whereas TKO knockout is plus 155. Do you agree that the favorite outcome should be the go the distance here?
I do. I mean, and that's no knock on Alexander Volkanovski. It's more just a praise of Chan Sung Jung's durability. Again, I mean, I know it sounds kind of silly to go back to the nickname, but I mean, there's very few more apt nicknames in the entire sport than this guy's. And so I think that just speaks to that. And so I like that because, like you said, if you look at the sports books and you look at betting Volkanovski outright, man, you got to lay some serious money. And in MMA, we do know that's a great thing about the sport. In MMA, anything can happen. And so, I mean, you can have one moment of a mistake, one little slip, and you have to pay for it. And so when you're talking about laying like minus 600, minus 700, I mean, that's just, I don't care who it is, man. That's difficult to do. But I do like that idea of a by decision because I think Volkanovski has the durability to go the distance. Or excuse me, Jung has the durability to go the distance for Volkanovski.
John Morgan joins us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN, previewing UFC 273 live from Jacksonville. He's the editor-in-chief of The Underground. Follow him on Twitter at @JohnMorgan_MMA. The second, the co-main, I feel like this is a pattern with our conversations, John. I'm more excited about the co-main than the main because I'm finally getting Sterling Yan 2, which feels like almost forever after these guys fought last. And I know that Aljamain, he was very emotional on the weigh-in today. He said on Instagram that he was so grateful to be here, be able to get back to this fight, this point. And this feels like a fight that's going to have a ton of fireworks.
I agree. To be honest with you, I thought maybe this would have been the selection as the main event. And it does seem to be the one that has the most excitement out of the title fights. I'll be honest, people are loving Hamzat, and we'll talk about that. But, the co-main event, I do believe has more flavor behind it. And look, I think it's a great fight. Now, it's another fight that has very wide odds on it, and I understand that. But I think it's one of those lines that has a whole lot of public sentiment in it. To be honest with you, Aljamain Sterling just doesn't really have the fans behind him right now. They fought the first time around, and Aljamain was fading. There was no question about it. He caught an illegal knee from Peter Yan. I mean, no question, a very, very illegal knee. And it was determined that he could not continue. And a lot of people said, oh, this guy's faking it. He could have kept fighting. What are we doing here? And public sentiment has really turned against him. And I think that's a big portion of why the line is as wide as it is. But I think this is a much more competitive matchup than people realize. In the time since, that 13 months since, Aljamain had a surgery on his neck, which was a repair that he'd been needing for years and had put off. Decided he finally wanted to get it done. He said that's improved his mobility, improved his body a lot. He changed some things with his diet. I mean, he made some real wholesale changes to his game. And then you talk about just his style. I mean, he's a great grappler. Peter Yan is a phenomenal boxer, man. Great striker, especially with the hands. He's fun to watch fight. And I think that's another reason people like him. He's just very aggressive, and he likes to strike a lot, which is what people enjoy. And there's just been this back and forth for 13 months. Again, Aljamain Sterling won this title through a disqualification, which we've never seen before in the UFC. And so a lot of people have said, look, that's not a real title. You don't deserve that belt. But listen, that's what the rules say. I mean, the rules state that if there's a foul that's a disqualification, you win. And so he did. These two guys don't like each other, so there's flavor in it. But what I like about it, it's a real grudge match. It isn't just some online Twitter beef. This is a grudge match that was built from something that happened in the cage. And one guy thinks another guy was faking it. The other guy thinks that guy was cheating and he shouldn't have been able to do it. So there's bad blood between these two. And like I said, it's not some silly online Twitter beef. There's real bad blood. There's real stylistic differences here. And like you said, I'll be honest with you, I'm more excited for the co-main than I am for the main.
You mentioned Hamzat. We'll get to him now and get it over with. I say that partially tongue-in-cheek, but I got to admit, I didn't expect him to be talking as much trash as he was this week at the press conference. Is he just turning up the knob right now, saying, hey, this is my chance to get some extra attention. I'm going to just turn up the heat publicly, or is this calculated? Like, what do you think's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just who this guy is. He's never lost. He's ultra confident. I mean, he's undefeated. He's been absolutely ripping through people. I mean, 4-0 in the UFC, 4 finishes, 3 of them in the first round. I mean, now granted, none of them have been the level of competitor that Gilbert Burns is, but still, I mean, you come in, you have that type of success, you get the hype behind you. I mean, I think he certainly believes in himself. I think the people around him are hyping him up as well. The fans are responding. I'm telling you, there was as much pop today at the ceremonial weigh-in for Khamzat Chimaev than there was for anybody else on the card. I mean, the kid looks like the real deal. And for years, we've been hearing about him behind the scenes, training partners and such that are like, man, this kid, even well before he made it to the UFC, they were saying, this kid, watch. When this kid makes it, he's a monster. And so far, he's shown it. But this is a test. Gilbert Burns, former title challenger, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion, heavy hands as well. I mean, this is a big test for Khamzat. But if he passes this test the same way he has his previous test, I mean, we're talking title shot. We're talking number 1 contender fight. We're talking big moments. So this kid looks like he's got superstar written all over him. But this is his biggest test to date, and that's why I'm excited for it.
And see, that's part of the reason why. And I think a lot of people gave me the eyebrow today because I basically, thanks to FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's Atlantic City, my featured bet of the week, I'm taking Gilbert Burns outright, John, because I just keep thinking the only guy who's beaten him in the last several years is Kamaru Usman. And Usman is going to go down as one of the greatest of all time. And I need to see Khamzat Chimaev actually go out there and beat a guy like Gilbert Burns before I'm going to give him his flowers. That's just me.
No, man, I don't blame you at all. I think that's a great play. And I've been trying to tell people the same thing. Like, listen, I'm not telling you that Khamzat isn't the real deal. Khamzat could absolutely go out there and destroy Gilbert Burns in 60 seconds. It is absolutely possible. But we haven't seen him against an athlete of this caliber yet. And when I think about the stylistic matchup, I mean, Khamzat has great, phenomenal wrestling. But, what's the counter to wrestling? Great jiu-jitsu. And that's what Gilbert Burns has. Okay, that's a great counter. You'd also want somebody maybe that has heavy hands in case they are getting out wrestled for 2 rounds. They need like a 3rd round knockout. Gilbert Burns has, the opportunity to knock people out. He does have heavy hands. How does Khamzat Chimaev perform, late in fights? We haven't seen that yet. He's finished every fight. You know what I mean? He hasn't even made it past, like 79 seconds into the 2nd round. So, I mean, these are all question marks. And so, I won't sit here and say to you, oh, I know for a fact Gilbert Burns is going to beat this guy. But when you look at the odds that you're getting for Gilbert Burns to win, who's the more proven commodity here? It's Gilbert Burns. There's no question about that. So, to be honest with you, I like that pick. It could be incredibly wrong, and we could all be, sitting there on Saturday night, Sunday morning going, boy, yeah, that dude is the real deal, isn't he? But we don't know that he's the real deal. And if you can get question marks with that kind of odds, I think you take it.
John Morgan joining us here on GameNight on 97.3 ESPN at John Morgan _MMA on Twitter. He is the editor-in-chief of The Underground. John, one more thing I want to ask you about with this card specifically. I'm going to lump the 2 fights together because who's involved? Tisha Torres versus Mackenzie Dern, and then Raquel Pennington filling in, take on Aspen Ladd. And the last time I checked, the last time these 2 ladies fought on the same card together, they both won. So is this a situation where we could see a repeat of history?
It very well could be. It very well could be. I will say both of them have very, very difficult matchups. Tisha Torres is a real clash in styles with Mackenzie Dern. She has great striking. She moves around well. She's got speed, good defensive wrestling. But Mackenzie Dern is an absolute animal on the floor. Her jiu-jitsu is off the charts. The son of a Brazilian jiu-jitsu, the daughter, I should say, of a Brazilian jiu-jitsu legend. But her dad is one of the most accomplished jiu-jitsu practitioners in the sport. And she grew up on the mats, and she's phenomenal at it. So, if you get tangled up on the ground with her, you're more than likely going to get submitted. So this is just going to see, who can play out the style. And to be honest with you, it's very similar with Pennington and Ladd as well. So look, tough matchups for sure. It's possible, but they both got stiff assignments. But listen, they're both ranked in the division. They're both in key matchups for a reason because they're up at the top of their weight classes, and this is a big moment for them.
John, one more thing on the UFC before I let you go. Khamzat, he talked about the press conference about how, like, today, now's my time. I'm the next guy in the UFC. And I saw him in an interview with ESPN talk about how he's like, hey, Conor had his moment. Khabib had his moment. This is my moment. Is that where the UFC is right now? Is the UFC moving forward in a, it's not a literal post-McGregor era, but, McGregor, he's not fighting right now. Khabib's retired. Are we legitimately saying, okay, who's next? Is that where the UFC is right now?
100%. I mean, that's what they have to do is determine the next superstars. And this guy absolutely looks like he could be it. He's resonating with the fans. I mean, you don't have to be a website operator. Like, just go to the UFC's YouTube channel and look at the numbers. I mean, anything that involves him is, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times the traffic of anything else. I mean, people, this guy is resonating with people, and he's got the look, he's got the ability, he's got the mic skills. Even though his English is limited, he uses it in just the right way. So yeah, I mean, this guy. Look, again, this is the biggest. I've been trying to tell people, look, these odds are a little bit crazy because Gilbert Burns is a stud. But if Khamzat Chimaev comes out and wins this fight and wins impressively, yeah, the hype is real.
He's John Morgan. Make sure you follow him all weekend long on Twitter at John Morgan _MMA. Check out all of his work with the Underground. And John, I know you're going to be in our backyard here in Atlantic City next weekend.
I will. Friday night, CFFC Hard Rock. I think it might be sold out already, but sometimes they put a last little bit of tickets on sale. So take a look. But if you come out there, CFFC action at the Hard Rock is always fun. I always enjoy being in Atlantic City.
John, always appreciate you jumping on. Good to talk to you, my friend, and enjoy the fights tomorrow night.
Thank you, brother. Always enjoy it.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Always good to catch up with John Morgan. Couple things I want to hit on there with real quick. Number one, like I said, I'm rocking with Burns. I don't even care if I'm wrong, because I cannot ride with a guy who has not fought the level of competition nowhere near Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns went toe-to-toe with Kamaru Usman, had him shaky for a bit in that fight. He beat down a Tyron Woodley who was not washed up at that point. You got a guy in Gilbert Burns who has just taken dudes out. Khamzat Chimaev has not fought anyone like him before. So I'm going with the proven commodity. Like I said, I don't even care if he loses, because I'd rather be wrong than be... I never want to be the dude who's like, oh, well, I went with the crowd and I was wrong. That's a bad way of living your life. I'm not a follower. I mentioned Tisha Torres and Raquel Pennington. The last time they were on a fight card together, they both won. You parlay together, that's plus 208 is the odds. Tisha is a plus 100 by herself if you want to ride that way. Gilbert Burns right now is a plus 380 over at the FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. And one more thought for you. We talked about the bad blood between Sterling and Jan. Plus 140 if the fight ends in knockout or TKO. That's another option for you at UFC 273. I think this is a stacked card. There's so many good fights on it. Even the fights we didn't talk about, Ian Gary versus, Darian Weeks. That's a put up or shut up fight for both guys. You have a situation with Mickey Gall versus Mike Mallow. That's a put up or shut up fight. Both those fighters need to get a win. Mark Madsen has fought in Philly forever. He's fighting a guy who's been very active in Vic Pinchel. This is a stacked card tomorrow night. So I'm really looking forward to seeing these fights. And it works out very well because you have the Sixers at 1 o'clock tomorrow. The Phillies at 4:05 first pitch. So by the time the prelims come around, let's the Phillies go to super extra innings, you're not going to miss any of the fights. The prelims come on after 8 o'clock. You'll be good to go. The Phillies game today started at 3, whatever it was. It was a 3-hour game. 3-hour games, you can work with that. Don't forget, coming up in about 15 minutes from now, your next opportunity to qualify your Pick Your Trip, presented by Philly Sports Trips and Ernest inside Old Fashioned Butcher Shop. The Sports Bash will be broadcasting live Thursday, April 28th from 2 to 6 at Slack Tie Brewing Company on Route 83 in Cape May Courthouse for the Eagles draft party. And one lucky listener will walk out of there with a trip fully paid for, fully furnished for them and one other person to an Eagles road game in 2022. But first, on the other side, your guys' thoughts and comments. There's messages on the text board, 609-403-0973 on the text board. You also can DM the show through 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Saturday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein. Brad Quast joins me in the studio. The 2022 Phillies baseball season starts against the Oakland Athletics. We will recap all the results of opening day. The sportsbook consigliere Dave Sherapan chimes in from Vegas with his baseball preview. Who's the odds-on favorite to win it all? The Sixers end their regular season Sunday. We'll take a look at the playoff possibilities. All that and more. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein, Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.
This week's featured bet is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's Atlantic City. UFC 273 Saturday night. Take Gilbert Burns' money line at plus 360. Bet all the action in style at FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's Atlantic City. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
O'Reilly. Need new wiper blades? Not sure which ones to buy? The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. We'll show you options for your specific car and even install them for free. Right now, save $10 per pair on Bosch Focus wiper blades, plus earn double O-Rewards points. There's no better time to replace your wiper blades. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The gifts are all yours at JCPenney's Happy Birthday Sale. Celebrate with 30% off select Levi's for the fam. Plus, save up to 50% during our biggest home sale of the season. Oh, and this Saturday only, the first 120 customers in-store get a coupon for $10 off a $10 purchase. Shopping is back. JCPenney. Levi's offer ends 4/17. Additional offers and coupons do not apply. Home offer ends 4/9. Coupon giveaway in-store only. Exclusions apply. Valid 4/9. Must be 18 or older. See store or jcp.com for details.
Why is it that every March, everyone's either a basketball bracketologist expert or 100% Irish? Not that there's anything wrong with the two. All you need to know this March is at Matt Blatt Kia in Egg Harbor Township or Toms River. If you have a job clearing $350 per week, you could be approved. And don't forget, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
Gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches, weakness, or discomfort in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 selling nerve care company. Nervive contains alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, and B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live your life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents and Doug.
Check it out, Limu, a roadside carnival.
Step right up, folks. Test your strength. Come see the fire-breathing baby.
Let's fan out and tell people that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Look! An emu wearing sunglasses!
Limu, you're famous. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Parkview RV.
It's a Parkview RV grand opening celebration this Saturday, April 9th. Parkview RV celebrates their 2.5-acre expansion with mind-blowing savings. Enter to win a 4-day, 3-night RV campsite getaway, a $1,500 value during Parkview RV's grand opening celebration this Saturday with refreshments, on-the-spot financing, and of course now 8 acres of the hottest names in RVs. Northern Lights, Salem, Durango, Forest River, Columbus, Winnebago, Lance, Thor, and many more. A Winnebago Micro Mini travel trailer is yours for just $100 $454 a month. A Flagstaff Superlight fifth wheel is just $344 a month. During the Parkview RV grand opening with incredible savings on an amazing selection of over 150 new and pre-owned motorhomes, fifth wheels, travel trailers, towables, truck campers, toy haulers, and pop-ups. The savings and selection are incredible during the grand opening this Saturday at Parkview RV, the area's largest RV dealer, Route 13 in North Smyrna, across from the rest area. Based on 180 months and 4.99% APR.
Always wanted a Jersey Shore mansion? With a $268 million Powerball jackpot win, you could buy the shore home of your dreams. Plus one for everyone in your family. It's just that many millions. Anything can happen in Jersey.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig here in the Matt Black Kia Studios on 97.3 ESPN FM, up with 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Little update: Tiger Woods is he's +1 overall right now. He's +2 on the day, but he's +1 overall. The reason why I bring it up is because, I've been telling you guys that my position has been if Tiger is going to be close on the leaderboard, a lot of people are going to keep watching this. Well, here's the interesting part. The cut line is +4. Tiger is probably going to make the cut. The problem is that Scotty Scheffler, of all people, is -7. Through 15 holes, Scotty Scheffler has a -4 today. Everyone on this course is struggling. And Scotty Scheffler is just going out there and just being like, I know what I'm doing. It's absolutely nuts to me. Tiger's playing partner, by the way, Joaquin Neiman, just bogeyed a hole, so he just dropped a couple shots. Tiger's now putting, so I'll let you know how that goes. But they are on the 17th hole. It's very interesting with golf because you guys know I'm not the biggest golf person, okay? I'm not really good at playing golf. But listen, Tiger's a superstar. Doesn't matter what the sport is. We talked with Reed Fowler and Bob Herrig this week. Reed Fowler from DraftKings and Bob Herrig from Sports Illustrated. And, watching Tiger go out there, to me, it's inspirational, man. I don't care who you are. I mean, this dude almost had his leg amputated. His leg still doesn't look actually 100%, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. The dude's putting for par right now, to stay +1 on the day. And I got to tell you, it's amazing to watch him play because, like I said, this guy wasn't supposed to be here. He nailed that thing. He just eyed that thing into the hole. The people in the crowd, standing ovation. Tiger finishes now on the 18th hole, +1 on the day. So here's the thing. He's 8 shots off the lead. He's 8 off the lead. But the guy in the lead right now, he's outpacing everyone. So unless something changes between now and tomorrow, Scotty Scheffler's got a huge lead. So I think for a lot of people, I ask you, the guy who's leading the Masters right now is practically running away with it. But it's Friday. A lot can happen. There's been wind today. It's supposed to be super hot the next 2 days. It's one of those deals where you look around and you're like, okay. Tiger, he's +1. And in the grand scheme of things, he's in the middle of the pack with everybody else. Tiger is 4 shots behind the guy in second place. That's where we're at right now. So I don't know. I don't know how to read this. I think it's a situation where, as a general principle, you probably look at Tiger and you say, hey, he is not that far behind. Being 8-9 shots back heading into Saturday is not an insurmountable number, especially considering you expect the leader not to be perfect through the whole weekend. But, man, Scotty Scheffler is -8. He's 5 shots ahead of Charles Schwartzel right now. And Schwartzel's had his own monster day. I mean, he came charging out there. He finished with a -3 on the day. If Scheffler doesn't stumble down the stretch, I don't know how you feel about this. Even a guy like Justin Thomas, who I think had a good chance to win the tournament, he's -1. He had a much better day today than yesterday. At best, Thomas is going to finish with a -2, -3 overall, and even he's 5 shots behind. So it's an interesting situation, to say the least, with the Masters. And, of course, we will have updates all weekend long right here for you on 97.3 ESPN FM. You can listen all day. Tomorrow and Sunday, we'll have updates playing for you throughout the day, thanks to Westwood One Sports. Before we get out of here, I promise to get some of you guys' thoughts and comments. 609-403-0973. By the way, somebody said, you want inspiration, Google Ben Hogan. I know the story of Ben Hogan. Ben Hogan was never supposed to play golf again. He was never supposed to even walk. He wasn't supposed to even be alive. Ben Hogan won a major after a horrific car accident in an era where they didn't have half the medical advancements that we have now. So, no, but to me, Ben Hogan and Tiger Woods are walking, not to sound like a Disney story here, but, it's almost like there should be a movie where the ghost of Ben Hogan is walking the Masters right now with Tiger whispering in his ear, you can do this kind of thing. It's got that vibe to it when you see Tiger walking around. Also on the text board, 609-403-0973. About the Sixers game last night, Texter says Toronto wanted to send a message. Sixers didn't have an answer for that message. This is a concerning situation. I'm with you, man. I think that the Sixers better avoid Toronto, or it's going to be a 7-game fisticuffs fight. The Sixers are going to be coming out on the other end. The Sixers will win a 7-game series with Toronto, but they'll be black and blue all over and barely have survived. I'm telling you right now, if you're a Sixers fan, you don't want to deal with the Raptors. I'm just telling you right now. You're right. This Raptors sent a message last night, and the Sixers didn't have an answer. Another text at 609-403-0973 says, every starter for the Phillies today had a hit. 2 errors, though. This will be the Phillies all year. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that, the defense is going to continue to be a problem. We even saw Bryson Stott struggle a little bit in the field. So, listen, I think that the Phillies, they put the right guy at third base. Stott is a way better defensive player than Alec Bohm at this point in time. But I don't believe in their defense. You have Schwarber in left field. Didi is an average at best shortstop, and Hoskins is a stiff at first base. So, this team's got a lot to prove still. They got a lot to prove to show that they are going to consistently overcome their defense. And like I said, they won 9-5, but it shouldn't have been that score. Girardi left Nola in the game. I don't know. I haven't heard the post-game presser. I don't know if it's because Girardi has some analytics guy in his ear telling him that he's only at X number of pitches, or Girardi just assumed that he was going to let Nola work through. I don't know what he thought. I'm just not a fan of not using the eye test. To me, baseball is a game of feel. It's not a game of just numbers. I feel like we live in a world where we get hung up on numbers way too much. And Justin Thomas just hit an amazing shot, blind out of a bunker onto the green. He may get birdie out of a horrible situation. Good for him. All right, here's the deal. Here's a weekend lineup. Tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN, Sixers versus Pacers tomorrow at 1 p.m. Yankees versus Red Sox. Coverage begins following the Sixers at 3:30. Flyers take on the Ducks tomorrow night, 7:30. So triple header on 97.3 ESPN following Billy Schweim in the locker room, 10 a.m. to noon, Saturday and Sunday on 97.3 ESPN FM. I'm Josh Hennig here on Game Night, giving you one final opportunity to qualify for Pick Your Trip. 609-573-3776 is the call-in line. We're looking for caller number 7 here, 209-573-3776. Caller number 7 will qualify for the Pick Your Trip contest. When you hear the sounder, you're a qualifier. We will see you at Slack Tie Brewing Company Thursday, April 28th from 2 to 6 p.m. The Sports Bash. We're broadcasting live at Slack Tie Brewing Company on Route 83, just north of Cape May Courthouse. Of course, the Phillies Sports Trip. Pick your trip. Phillies Sports Trips. Phillies Trips with the pros. Plan your trip to a Phillies sports game today at phillysportstrips.com. Also brought to you by Ernst & Sons Old Fashioned Butcher Shop in Brigantine. Call number 7, 609-573-3776. I'm Josh Hennig. Have a great weekend, everybody.
From the Augusta National Golf Club, Westwood One Sports presents this special report on the Masters. I'm Ted Emmerich. After a 4-over-76 on Thursday, Justin Thomas looked headed towards slamming his trunk and heading home this evening. But Thomas won't just play the weekend here. He might be a factor.
9-iron for Justin Thomas. He's got to stand on this. Starts it out to the right. Flag is on the left. Takes a big hop to the left from 166. Here, this one comes down the hill. Hang on a second. Justin Thomas.